again.
Your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning and welcome to the morning show on Tobago Updates Television. It is Monday, 17th June 2024, and we're coming to you live from the Port Mall here in Scarborough, Tobago. I am Adana Kumbi, and this is the day that the Lord has made, and we shall rejoice, yes, and be glad in it. What a beautiful Monday morning it is, and what a lovely day to be in the land of the living. There's so many things to give God thanks for, and life is the primary one of them. We're just heading out of the weekend, and we know we celebrated Father's Day over the weekend, and so I do hope that all of you fathers out there had a wonderful Father's Day yesterday, and we'd love to hear some of your stories, what happened, even those of you who are not fathers, who are mothers, sisters, daughters. What did you do for your father or that man in your life, in your home, who stands as a father figure, right? We do look forward to a wonderful show this morning here on the Morning Show on Tobago Updates Television. As per usual, we take pride in bringing you the information and having the conversations that matter here on the island of Tobago. But before we get into all of that, we head on over to the news in 90 seconds.
News in 90 seconds is brought to you by Standards, never beaten on quality and prices.
Thank you, Adana. Here is your news in 90 seconds for Monday, June 17, 2024. Former THA Assemblyman Jerry McFarling has called on politicians to introduce measures in Parliament to monitor and regulate the quality of imported and locally produced food. Speaking at the 5th Joint Select Committee meeting on Social Services and Public Administration in Tobago, McFarling highlighted high prevalence of non-communicable diseases, which accounts for 60% of death in the country. He expressed concern that the actual numbers of deaths from non-communicable diseases in Tobago might be higher than reported. McFarling questioned the regulation of sugar content in foods and the use of chemicals in produce, urging stricter checks on food quality. On Saturday at the Lowlands Mall car park, Iconic Marks held their band launch titled Enter the Amazon 2024, building anticipation for Tobago October Carnival 2024. 7 sections were showcased: Toucan, Emerald Bow, Phantom Butterfly, Lily, Triantula, Red Macaw, and Raw. The launch featured entertainment by Adana Roberts. And finally, Kamala Prasad Bisesa star team decisively defeated Ruston Parry's United Patriots in the UNC internal elections. Prasad Bisesa declared a landslide victory for all 17 stars. Despite the ongoing official count and the arrival of ballot box at the UNC headquarters, preliminary results show a clear win for the stars slate. Prasad Bisesa acknowledged the ongoing count but noted the clear trend of victory. She described the campaign as the worst internal elections experience, citing dishonesty from the opposing team. Meanwhile, she reminded supporters of the upcoming by-elections and a general election. And that was your news in 90 seconds.
Need a fresh start? Upgrade your life with the things you want. At Standard Distributors in Canaan, life is good with zero. Get that amazing fridge, the stylish sofa with zero down and easy financing. Your dream house is within reach. Visit Standard Distributors today. Life is good with zero.
Thank you, Biana, for the news there in 90 seconds. And of course, it's Monday morning. We just came out of the weekend, and we know we celebrated Father's Day over the weekend. What was the experience like for you? What was most outstanding? I know a lot of people share, their experiences on social media. What did you come across that was interesting, Biana?
There was a lot in this space, Adana. Though I lost my father 4 years ago, that wasn't the highlight. For us, well, actually, our neighbors, we came together and we celebrated the fathers on our street. And I also paid attention to a program, Iron Dependency. Now, when it's Mother's Day and Father's Day, they normally feature parents or mothers or fathers from the prison system. And there was this father, they were speaking about a father, his daughter came to see him, right? And it's like, as the daughter saw him coming out to the chair where he had to sit to have the conversation, she just ran to the father like it's first time she's seen him, after such a long period. And when it was time for them to leave, the child, it was so solemn that one of the officers had to escort the father with the child back to the bus, because the idea of now having to leave the father, it was so, a sad moment. And they also spoke about a father who had 23 children. Though he's still incarcerated, he has lost 3 of those children. But, on regular visits, virtual visits, they will come and still have conversations with him. And one thing one of the daughters said to him, she was in a little difficulty, and the person who created the difficulty, he also saw the father of that daughter in prison, and the father also helped him by giving him stuff within the prison system because nobody wasn't visiting him and that sort of thing. And the daughter said to the father, Dad, though you are incarcerated, one thing is that, you failed me. You are here, but, I will still come and look for you, have conversations with you. And, that stood out for me during the program on iron dependency.
And it is very important, of course, sometimes to mend bridges,
Yes.
as you alluded to in the story there.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that the children were able to visit even in the prison system, and to show that measure of willingness to
Yes.
remain in connection with
Yes.
each other. Thank you so much, Biana, there. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna head on over to our birthday shout-outs. Yes, our birthday shout-outs. And first up this morning and celebrating a birthday, it's Danielle Likoto Campbell. It is her birthday, and we want to say happy birthday to you, Danielle. We pray God's blessings upon your life, and as you enter this new chapter, that you walk in purpose and stay connected to your Creator. This is a belated birthday to the man David Mirage. If you know anything about the Tobago space and you know about Barco, this is the man who is in charge on the seafront there. David Mirage celebrated his birthday yesterday, and we want to say happy belated birthday to you, David. We wish you God's blessings upon your life. This is Miss Gail Patrick. We want to say happy birthday to you, Miss Gail. Birthday greetings coming to you from your friends and family, as well as the Scarborough Methodist Church congregation. Happy birthday, Miss Gail Patrick. And next, this is Mr. Denzel White, known to all in Tobago by Denz. Yes, it is his birthday, and we want to say happy birthday to you, Mr. White. We pray God's blessings upon your life as you enter this new year, and we pray that you continue to walk in purpose and continue to influence and impact lives as you have been doing. Our next celebrant is Mr. Philbert Hislop. This is a belated birthday. He celebrated his birthday yesterday, and we want to say happy belated birthday to you. We pray God's blessings upon your life. We pray that as you enter this new chapter, this new year of your life, that you walk upright, that you continue to give God praise and thanks for your life, that you continue to impact lives. This is a past principle, actually, of Harmon's School of SDA, and we pray God's blessings upon your life. Continue to groom and mold minds there. Happy birthday to you, Mr. Hislop. Those of you who are celebrating birthdays this week, of course, we pray God's blessings upon your life. Those of you who celebrated over the weekend, if we don't have your photo, we still want to wish you a happy birthday. And there's one more celebration we want to, acknowledge this morning. We're celebrating an anniversary this morning. Today, Mr. and Mrs. Colonel Charles celebrating 10 years. And if you look at the faces, you'd be wondering 10 years, but these are just babes. 10 years of wedded bliss, and we pray God's blessings upon their lives as they continue to walk in that partnership together, acknowledging God as their source of strength, of hope, and of unity. Happy anniversary to you all. And of course, I want to say a special good morning to all of you who are viewing us on our live stream, whether you're viewing on our Facebook live stream, on our YouTube channel, or at Amplia 102. We say good morning to you and welcome. Thank you for always choosing the morning show on Tobago Updates Television and making us the #1 morning show here in Trinidad and Tobago. And of course, it's Monday, and so you're wondering what's in my cup. Monday Morning Brew is sponsored by LCJ Delights. They have sponsored my drink this morning, and today I am drinking moringa and ginger tea. Yes, packaged and brewed for me by the LCJ Delights. They are the makers of breakfast foods. So you have all your teas, your porridges, different types of flours for you to make your pancakes and waffles. You can check them out there in Signal Hill for more details and to get a scope on all of their products. Thank you so much this morning. All right, who are we speaking with in studio this morning? This morning, we start our conversation by speaking with Senator Lawrence Hislop, and we're speaking about, is $50 million enough? We've been having that conversation in the Tobago space as it relates to relief for the oil spill cleanup, and so we're having that conversation. We also speak about the Rocky Point Hotel project in that conversation as well. Then we speak with our representatives on the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. Of course, it's Monday, so they bring the crime updates, and we speak with Acting ASP Sunil Barrett and Inspector Kathleen Sterling. We're also going to talk a little bit about road safety, and then we wrap the conversation by speaking with Mr. Kevon McKenna. He's the president of the Scarborough Secondary School alumni, and of course it's Capture the Flag season, so we're going to be getting some information as it relates to that as well. Viewers, of course, we want you to stay with us throughout the entire program to participate in the conversation and to air your views on our live stream, but we have to go for a break before we start having these conversations. And before we go, we invite you to help us share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
Notice is hereby given that the 63rd Annual General Meeting, AGM, of the Bethel Credit Union Cooperative Society Limited will take place using a hybrid format on Thursday, June 27th from 5 p.m. The physical location will be upstairs the Mount Marie branch office. The purpose of the meeting is to receive minutes of the 62nd Annual General Meeting, to receive reports as follows: statutory and board-appointed committees, report of the auditor and audited financial statements, to receive budgetary proposals for 2024, to elect officers, to approve general resolutions, and lastly to transact any other business that may properly come before the meeting. A digital copy of the AGM brochure is available on the website. Please visit our website at www.bethelcredituniont.com or any one of our branches for further information.
I can't live without you, I can't be without you for too long. Cause when I'm around you, I feel like the heavens is coming down. I feel it in my soul every time we on the road, it's a miracle.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show on Tobago Updates Television. We begin conversations this Monday morning speaking with Senator Lawrence Hislop. We're speaking primarily about the $50 million relief that was granted to the Tobago House of Assembly by the central government of Trinidad and Tobago. That is where we're going to start this morning. And of course, we branch off to other conversations that are pertinent and important in the Tobago space. Good morning, Senator, and welcome.
Good morning, Anna. Thank you for having me. Morning, Tobago.
Of course, of course. So we're going to get straight on into the conversation. We've had a situation that took place in Tobago in February, I believe it was about February 7th,
Yes.
where we experienced an oil spill. A mysterious ship landed on our shores somehow, and then there was a spill that took place. And, you know, all the things that came with it, having to now clean up the space, of course, causing the loss of income to some, insecurity to others, uncertainty, and a whole heap of other things. Tobago Public came together. We had volunteers. So many people came on board, agencies, government agencies, the Tobago House of Assembly. The Prime Minister himself was here assessing the situation and trying to bring relief. And so we cleaned up the space to the best of our ability. And now we're talking about relief.
Yeah.
And here the central government has granted the Tobago House of Assembly a sum of $50 million to assist in providing that financial relief to those who would have, provided, whether it's goods or services for the cleanup situation. And we're hearing in the space, $50 million is not enough.
Yeah.
And so you're here defending that $50 million is enough. And my question is, how do we determine what is enough?
Well, first and foremost, I don't think I'm here defending whether 50 million is enough, because if persons would have listened to my contribution in the Senate, I believe I started by saying that we accept the fact that 50 million is not enough to deal with the cleanup, because to this point we have not yet ascertained the true cost of the cleanup due to the spill. And we have to also bear in mind, Adana, that the 50 million, and I want to just quote it as it is. The 50 million was or is catered for, let me get it correctly, to meet the cleanup and remediation costs associated with the oil spill. And so this is the government's first installment, as I would put it, the first installment towards a commitment that was given by the Prime Minister. If you remember from the press conference that he held when he came, I think it was 3 days after the spill, it was asked, where is this funding coming from? And the Prime Minister made it very clear that this was not something that anybody budgeted for. The THA didn't budget for it, central government didn't budget for it. But the reality is that it happened. There will be a cost incurred. And whatever that cost is, it has to be met by the state. If that cost would also, I believe, also include some level of compensation. And as well, a commitment was given. I want to say to the population that we have to bear in mind that this 50 million is coming out of what government expects to earn in revenue. There is the work being done by the Minister of Energy as it relates to the International Oil Pollution Fund, where significant advocacy was made on behalf of Trinidad and Tobago to treat with the funding to assist in the cleanup. And there has been a commitment coming from that international organization to assist in funding the cleanup. And so the 50 million I will consider as the first installment towards this
No, you know, sometimes
process.
when you have to be very careful of your words, because you're saying your first installment. This sounds almost like a commitment that there is more to come.
But there was a commitment from the onset that the government, the central, and I made it very clear in the contribution as well, that when we seem to disaggregate that this issue was a Tobago issue. This issue was a national issue. It got to the stage that it was ramped up to a tier 2 incident, which means that it required the national involvement. And if it is the national involvement, it is the government of Trinidad and Tobago in association and collaboration with the Tobago House of Assembly. We also have to bear in mind that substantial resources were also provided by what we may call state entities. Heritage and all of these companies came on board. The Ministry of Energy continues to absorb significant costs. If you want to consider the responsibility that the Ministry of Energy had, which or still has, which is treating with the vessel. And that process is still ongoing. That work is still ongoing. There's a vessel parked up in the port that is there to receive the hydrocarbon as it comes from the location and from the vessel in Cove. Somebody's paying for that vessel to be there. Somebody's paying for that vessel to take the oil to wherever it is going for processing or whatever they're doing with it or disposal. So the reality is that the work is ongoing. Because before this 50 million, we have not heard any allocation being made to assist in the cleanup process.
And you're right. And it has been said that it really is, nobody catered for something like this to happen. It's not something that usually happens until we budget for it and we cater for it. And so we're now in a position where we have to find the money somewhere. And like we do in Trinidad and Tobago, we always know how to make things happen. We pull a rabbit out of a hat sometimes if we have to. And so we're in this position now. And so the relief amount is being released, and Tobago can use it to do whatever they need to do. What I want to find out, or what I want to discuss, is how do you really assess how do you assess the cost? I mean, you have invoices, as you mentioned in your presentation in the Parliament. People will bring in their invoices for services rendered, for goods provided, whether it's catering or whatever. But there are other losses, loss of income, potential income from the fishermen. How do you quantify how are they going to be, sort of compensated, if at all, for that period? How do you determine, okay, for this period, I know I could have made $10 million, and so that's my claim. How do you assess what the loss is and provide some measure of compensation for these people? And that's the conversation that has to be ongoing.
Right. No. So I believe there's a mechanism, because the Minister of Finance made it very clear in his response during the Standing Finance Committee that invoices would have been interrogated not by him, but the Budget Department of the Ministry of Finance, in conversation with the technocrats at the Division of Finance, the Tobago House of Assembly, interrogated the documentation that would have been presented. And in that interrogation, this is where the 50 million came from. The 50 million came from invoices that had to be paid. So as I said, the 50 million wasn't pulled out of a hat. And I believe, based on best practice internationally, because preparing for that my contribution in the Senate, we looked at what transpired on a larger scale, a much larger scale, which is the BP oil spill in the United States, the Deep Horizon oil spill. And 6 years after that oil spill took place, BP was still paying out compensation. And so there is a process to take place. And I believe there is a method. There has to be a method, because we are not the first country to experience an oil spill. So there has to be a mechanism that is used to determine legitimate compensation, because you have to also bear in mind, Adana, that the reality is that we're going to have people in the midst who are going to seek to capitalize on this situation. And an individual may not have lost anything, or may not have lost the quantum for which he is now seeking compensation for. And so there has to be a process. It is not, and while we understand the plight and empathize with the plight of the fishermen, the reality is this is not something that was catered for, not budgeted for, and so there has to be a process. And there will be a process, and I believe that there will be compensation that will be made. What we may have an issue with for some persons is that whether the compensation agreed on is is what is what they desire.
And as you said, it will be an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
Other countries have experienced this, and it is years, and they're still being
Yeah.
paid out compensation, and things will pop up.
Correct.
I'm sure other things will
Correct.
come out of the woodworks. This is a result of the oil spill, as a consequence of, and so I need to be, and you'd see things happening in this space, and so the conversation has to keep going on. We have to keep assessing, and we have to keep being accountable as well as we disperse funds.
Yeah.
As you said, it's the public funds. It's my money.
That's right.
You understand? And I want to know.
And I want to make this plug as well. When we say that the 50 million, we want to dismiss the 50 million. As I said in my contribution, you can't dismiss the 50 million when there are invoices for persons who would have provided goods and services for the oil spill cleanup. There's and it's listed in the document, is listed on the Hansard. You're talking about catering, you're talking about supplies and services, you're talking about security, all of these things are there, and these are invoices that were submitted, and the Tobago House of Assembly, along with the Ministry of Finance, interrogated the invoices, and that's where we got to the 50 million.
And you also mentioned in your presentation about assistance from international agencies as well, who are going to provide that measure of support as well. And we're hoping to hear how that conversation goes, the quantity, and how it is going to be dispersed in the future as we continue to deal with the situation and the fallout from the oil spill. Now, we want to switch the conversation a little bit. I know there's a situation with the Rockley Bay Hotel that is going to be established in Tobago quite soon, and there's a lot of conversation, a lot of talk in the space. Some are for it, some are against it, some have issues, some have voiced their issues, why they are against it. And so I want to get your position on it this morning, where you stand and how you see this, whether it's a benefit. I don't know what your position is, whether you think it's a benefit to Tobago, or should we step back from this this project?
No, well, I believe that it is a benefit for the island. I believe that any hotel project, especially a hotel project of a brand, of a renowned international brand, is going to redound to the benefit of Tobago. You're talking immediately increased arrivals, and increased arrivals give you a spin-off effect. And so that is going to redound to, and we've said this over and over again, that will redound to the farmer, to the fisherman, to the business person in Tobago, to the tour guide, to the tour operator, to the craftspeople. That's what a major hotel product does. Because when we go through the Caribbean, we bash the idea of a major hotel project in Tobago, but yet there are many of us who may travel and we stay at these same resorts that we say shouldn't come to Tobago. And the process is, we're going through the process of, what is it called? We're going through the process with the EMA and all the regulatory bodies to get the approvals. That's what we're going through right now. We're going through the approval process. And we have to be mindful that we're not throwing out the baby with the bathwater.
And we have, as you said, we have to be careful, because remember, we lost a golden opportunity with the Sandals
brand. There's some people who still see it as not being golden, and it is unfortunate that the head of government of another country could be boasting that a resort in his island is now hiring or has employed over 1,000 persons. Could you imagine that significant impact that's going to have in Tobago? 1,000 persons from Tobago having permanent employment. It's not contract employment,
But I want to pull your brain a little bit. And while we are talking, you are talking about in support of this establishment in Tobago, and you're talking about the spin-off and the other people who are going to benefit. You talk about the farmers, the fishermen, the hotel industry. What are we doing in terms of developing our customer service brand on the island of Tobago? Because I think that it's very important when you are talking about these types of resorts coming to our island. We have to be able to provide a product that is holistic. We don't just want to have a beautiful building and then the rooms are vacant because you have bad reviews. And we've seen we've seen in recent times, rather, especially with the advent of social media, people will post anything, they will make videos. And so I think also, while the conversation is being had about this, simultaneously, we have to be talking about our tourism product, which also includes our customer service. And I know you want to talk about that, but I really want to invest some time in talking about the importance of building that customer service brand on the island of Tobago, because we see so many hotels in other Caribbean islands thriving, right? And it's not that we don't have beautiful hotels here. We do have, one or two. And so we want to ensure that we can provide something that will cause somebody to come back.
But you see, the thing about it is that I wouldn't worry about the internal customer service within the institution.
Not just the institution.
Right. No. So the institution is going to cover itself in terms of its training and the quality that it expects from its staff. Now let's come out of the hotel. And that's where the challenge lies. And the truth is we are not even nice to each other. And I agree with you that there needs to be a level of education that is held with or and I don't even know how to explain it fully, but we just need to get back to that point where it was nice to be a Tobagonian, where we would smile with each other, where we would say hello, where we would say hi, where we would say, how are you doing today? What can I do for you? These are the things that made us unique, that made us Tobagonian. A Tobagonian in Trinidad would be the person who will walk in a Maxi in Trinidad and say, morning, everybody.
That's right.
And then were you from Tobago? That is who we were. We were considered to be nice people, polite people. But we've gotten to a stage now where sometimes I wonder what has happened to us. What has happened to us? Why are we no longer nice? And we need to understand that service is not servitude.
That's right.
Service is not servitude. You can be the best taxi driver. You can be the best. Even the person, I remember, I always have this little thing if I go into a food establishment and the server is a little sour. And I would make the comment, I said, you need to put a smile on your face because I can't have my food as sour as your face. And it will break the ice. It will break the ice because the reality is we need to love people, We need to like people. We need to be good with people.
That's right. And, because at the end of the day, we're only, 60,000 people strong here?
Yes.
Everybody knows everybody.
That's
and
right.
So it's very important in establishing your brand.
Yeah, because a smile doesn't take much of you. It takes more to frown. It takes more to have a be-some sour face than it does to put a smile on your face.
That's right. And so, for opportunities to come our way, I think we need to really invest in that. It will take a cultural change. It will take a behavioral change. It will take a lot of work. But, we don't want to have a situation where something is presented to us and sometimes the question is there, will this work in this space?
But see, I just want fellow Tobagonians to understand that there's a benefit. We saw the benefit of when Hilton was in Tobago and the level of traffic that we had, our arrivals increased significantly. And there is benefit to a brand resort. And if we want to consider tourism as part of our diversification thrust in the country, you have to do that by numbers. It's numbers. And the tourism experts will tell you that the front of the plane is what pays. The passenger who sits to the front of the plane, that's your high-end guest. That's your quality room guest. And that's who you need in numbers. I was and I know we're running out of time, but I was having a discussion with a friend of mine at the airport, one of those taxi drivers, and I said to him, could you imagine? We have one international flight per week that only brings in maybe 60, 80 people. I said, could you imagine as a taxi driver, you are there and every day, 7 days a week, you have to be treated with 2 and 3 international flights per day. I said, do you even have the capacity at the airport in the taxi line to treat to that? And it's when you have these kinds of conversations, person realize, hey, if you bring in a direct flight from Miami, a direct flight from New York, a direct flight from Atlanta, from Toronto, American Airlines, JetBlue, Caribbean Airlines, coming to Tobago directly with visitors to the island. The significant increase in foreign exchange that is going to be starting to circulate in Tobago.
That is exactly.
The taxi driver, the man on the street buying food, the coconut vendor, everybody benefits.
To all and sundry.
That's
the benefit is to all
so,
and sundry.
So once the company goes through all its regulatory approvals and gets its approvals, this is going to redound to the benefit. Construction-wise, we're talking over 1,000 jobs. You're talking about permanent employment for 1,000 plus people. I don't see how that could be a negative for the island.
We need to introduce that into the conversation as well as we talk about any of these types of projects coming to the island of Tobago so that we can see the holistic benefits to all of us here on the island of Tobago. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been speaking with Senator Lawrence Hislop. We spoke about that $50 million that has been released to Tobago for relief for the oil spill that took place here in February of this year, and also a little bit on the Rocky Bay hotel project that is supposed to be happening here on the island of Tobago. We spoke a little bit about tourism, and you talk about me, we talk about you, and we really want to get things right here on the island. It's a beautiful place and we want all to come and enjoy what we have. But let us come together, let us work together and make Tobago what we really want it to be. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to go for a short break, but before we go for a break, of course, we invite you to help us share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
Rotisserie, mouth-watering fries, salads, combos, and specials galore. Feeling for something to eat? Come and see. Our rotisserie is seasoned to the T. Kicking chicken, masala, and jerk roast. Crispy fries made from scratch. Who do you know can't beat that? Or salads freshly cut and packed. When you taste it, you'll be wanting to come back. So come check us out on number 2 Robinson Street, Uptown Scarborough, Tobago. We open on Saturday nights from 7:30 to 11:30 p.m. Monday to Thursday, we're open from 10 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. and on Friday, 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Contact us at 772-7443 and all social media handles at The Rotisserie Factory.
News in 90 seconds is brought to you by Standards. Never beaten on quality and prices.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up and look, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up and look. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show on Tobago Updates Television. I am Adana Kambi, and we continue conversations this morning in studio. We speak with Acting ASP Sunil Barrett and Inspector Kathleen Sterling. This morning, of course, it's Monday, and so the TTPS always brings us the crime update as it relates to things happening in Tobago. And we're also going to speak specifically about road safety. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Right. It's always a pleasure having you guys here, of course, bringing us the information as it relates to things happening on the island. And I know we just had a Father's Day weekend. I'm not sure, how many activities there were on the island, as well as anything happening during the week, ending from last Monday till now. Any updates that you can bring for us in terms of as it relates to crime or apprehension of any success stories?
Well, morning, we're elated to be here to give updates because it is in a good way. For this week, there were no violent crimes reported, which is excellent compared to the rest of the week. Right. But we have intensified our strategies, our operational plans, and we have seen a remarkable success. For this week, we have arrested over 30 persons for various offenses, ranging from attempted murder to trafficking narcotics, outstanding warrants, possession of firearm and ammunition, robberies, that happened within the week and person was arrested. One person was actually arrested right after the commission of the crime. We decided to change up our plans, our operational plans, and we have seen even comments from viewers on social media that they've seen things happening in Tobago, in the space of Tobago. And we decided to partner a lot with the external stakeholders. For instance, the Port Police, the Coast Guard, the Trinidad and Tobago Regiment, and other, smaller groups. And I would like to thank the public for their assistance because most of the arrests was help from, people from the communities. Right? We are willing to work with them hand in hand to eradicate this crime problem we have in Tobago. Right? And we saw some success as well. Recently we raided a popular bar, where 32 persons were arrested. And 22 of these persons were charged. 4 of these persons were deported, so they would be taken back to Trinidad in the IDC. And it is a cause of concern because most of the persons were from Trinidad. When the immigrants gave the address, it's from Central Trinidad, South Trinidad, and they're finding a way here in Tobago to have a good time illegally.
You see, and it really is cause for concern. And I must say, thank you to the communities in Tobago for assisting because whenever we come on this program, the TTPS
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show.
when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Thank you for staying with us, and we do apologize for that break in transmission there. We're speaking this morning about crime successes, detaining criminals over the past week and weekend here on the island of Tobago. And so the conversation continues. I was just saying, thank you to the communities across the island of Tobago. We're always so happy when we partner with the TTPS to ensure that we can, bring some measure of intelligence to assist in capturing criminals. And so we have all these success stories happening over the past week, and of course I know that you have strategies implemented to continue with fighting crime on the island of Tobago. And so we want to talk a little bit about road safety now. Right, that's the topic that we want to get on this morning. And one of the things, I'm not sure if it's part of your conversation, I always mention the use of the roundabout. I don't know if that will be part of your conversation this morning, but let's get into it.
Hi, good morning, Alan. We really focusing on road safety, the rainy season being upon us. So we are asking drivers to ensure that their vehicles are roadworthy. In terms of our tire tread, ensure that we go to the tire shop and check it out, because we could have a lot of skidding with water on the roadways. And added to that, defective tire is an ticketable offense for penalty of $1,000, 3 demerit points. So we are asking drivers, to be careful on the roadways. There are a lot of water will be covering holes, so we are asking drivers to reduce their speed on the roadways. Even keep the distance away from vehicles, so that in the event and something occurred, that you have enough sufficient space and time to navigate any serious accident. We are also asking drivers to ensure that the windscreen is working, because we don't want to have defective windscreen, rain is falling, and we cannot see on the roadway. So we are asking drivers to ensure that their windscreen are working. That is also a ticketable offense under the road traffic, the wipers under the Motor Vehicle and Road Traffic Act, with a penalty of $300. Right? We are also asking drivers to be mindful on when they are driving, because rain will be falling. Pedestrians will be running to shelter, especially children, and not paying attention to the traffic. So we're asking drivers to be extra careful, to be looking at pedestrians, especially our children. We're also asking them to take the time when navigating, because the roadway will be full of water, and we don't want to soak our pedestrians on the roadway. Now, recently in Tobago, we had the last fatal we had was on the roundabout. That's at Booker Junction. Well, not the roundabout, the traffic light at Booker Junction. And we're asking drivers, we have the traffic lights, and we should adhere to the traffic lights. That is the reason why we have the traffic lights, so that we could negate accidents happening, especially fatal accidents.
And as you talk about the traffic lights, I know that there have been some cameras installed lately, and I have had experiences where I am in traffic waiting to proceed, and my light has turned to green, which means I am able to go. I have permission to go based on the lights that are there at the traffic light, and still you see vehicles going across in perpendicular to where I am supposed to be going. And I'm thinking, if my light is on green, it means that your light is already on red. Why are you still going across the roadway? So I'm wondering, the cameras that are there, have they been able to assist? Because I feel as if we need to have very, very strict penalties and enforcement of the law, because this can result in something very, very fatal. Because for me, I know I always give myself that extra 10 seconds to ensure nobody's trying to zoom across. And I find, especially in the recent past, it is happening very, very often.
I don't know what. With the installation of those cameras, a lot of persons don't know that you are getting tickets in your mail. So when you break the traffic light, expect a ticket in the mail. But we as drivers, we have to also be careful, because we know the light will be on green for us to go, and persons would be breaking the light. So we still have to be careful at the traffic light, drive with due care and attention when we are at the traffic light.
All right, sir. Ticketable offense. The cameras are there. They are picking you up. And remember, you can save a life by adhering to the rules, to the laws. If your light is on red, please do not try to run across the traffic lights. Somebody else's light is on green while yours is on red. So please respect that and hold on for the 2 minutes that you're probably just going to be sitting there, and nothing is going to happen. You just wait for that extra 2 minutes until your light turns green again. Now we want to go over to marine safety. I know that you wanted to mention some things there to bring us up to speed with that as well.
Yeah, definitely, because most of the activities in Tobago is in the waters, right? And we have the water sports, we have the tours, we have now the fishermen. And what we have observed recently with the fishermen is that they would venture into the seas to fish, obviously, and they would not inform their loved ones or their siblings of where they are going to. And when, after some hours, the loved one of the siblings decide that, hey, they're missing. When the authorities or the other fishermen decide to go and search for these men, we have no idea where to start. And that time is very crucial for the fishermen that lost. That could cost them their lives. So what we are saying, that we have technology, we have telephones, we have GPS, let us use it. Or we could tell the person responsible in the land, where are we going to fish, which area. So in the event that they are lost for some reason, or they experience some mechanical difficulties, we will have an idea, or the Coast Guard would have an idea where to start a search, rather than we have to look for the entire area. So that's a cause of concern. And then we had several reports, with persons visiting the beaches. So there's social media for the weather alert. Let us look at the messages and decide if to go or not. That's important. And what I can say is that the stakeholders had a meeting with the Marine Department of the THA, and we have decided to do awareness campaign, right, to the persons, to the stakeholders, the business people in the beach, plus the visitors. Making them aware of their safety, of their surroundings, and what they can and cannot do. So I'm hoping this will help us as well.
Right, it is very important, and I was going to mention there, of course, the public education and awareness to persons who are using the beaches and who are doing fishing and, using the marine for their source of income or even recreation. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been speaking with Acting ASP Sunil Bharat and Inspector Kathleen Sterling as they bring the updates of crime happening here on the island, detection of crime and arrests, as well as road safety and marine safety. And we say thank you so much for being on the program this morning and bringing that information to us. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to go for a short break before we continue conversations this morning in studio with our guest. And of course, before we go, we invite you to help us. Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
The countdown is on to the Tobago Public Service Day Expo 2024. Join us on July 5th at the Shore Park Complex to discover the dynamic world of public service where innovation meets dedication. Explore exciting careers, experience innovative services, enjoy interactive displays, and a whole lot more. Come join us on July 5th at the Shore Park Complex from 9:30 a.m. Visit the office of the Chief Secretary's Facebook page for details. Tobago Public Service Day Expo 2024. Public service now and beyond. Sun Up Tobago is here. Join us on Saturday, July 6th from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. at Delta Compound Argyle for an unforgettable summer experience. Enjoy an all-inclusive experience with mouth-watering food, coolers are allowed, and best island vibe. This is a tickets-only event. Get your tickets now at Barco, Lust, and Pablo's Argyle. Don't miss out on the event of the summer. Sun Sponsored by Tobago Updates, B-Mobile, State Solutions, and Thorns Place.
Look at people in here tonight.
Tobago!
Tobago. The date has been set. Saturday, June 22nd, we head to the Jade Monkey once again for the launch of their 2024 Jufi and Mass Band presentation for Tobago Carnival. On Saturday, June 22nd, we gather at the Jade Monkey to get a glimpse of the Jade Monkey Mass presentation for 2024, the Tobago Festival, and also the launch of the Jade Monkey Juve, Monkey See, Monkey Do.
I come from the Twin Island of Canada.
Get ready for another year of Tobago Carnival with the best band in Tobago, Jade Monkey Mass and the Jade Monkey Juve. So come out on June 22nd as we launch Monkey See, Monkey Do Juve, and for Tobago Mass, the Tobago Festival's presentation, brought to you by the Jade Monkey. This one powered by Carib, Digicel, and Next 99.1 FM, a member of the TTT Limited Media Network. Jade Monkey.
Go down in the center, go down.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show on Tobago Updates Television. We're just about 7:53 a.m. So if you're making it to work for 8 a.m. and dropping the children off to school, you might be a little late, but there's no need to rush. Remember to stay safe on the nation's roads. We just spoke to TTPS and we're talking about road safety. So remember, safety is the objective here this morning. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we continue conversations this morning in studio with our guest. And this morning we're speaking with Mr. Kevin McKenna, the president of the Scarborough Secondary School alumni. And we're talking capture the flag. Now, if you live in Tobago or, impacted by anything happening in Tobago, you know that recently a contingency of the alumni have toured Barbados quite recently and had the opportunity to meet with one of their ministers there. And so we're talking capture the flag where that is concerned. Let's have the conversation this morning. Kevin, how are you doing this morning?
A bit tired. I'm coming out from the Barbados trip and also birthday celebrations and all of that. So let me start off by saying good morning to our viewers and listeners. Good morning Tobago, good morning Trinidad, and whoever else is tuning in. Good morning.
Right, and so we're talking capture the flag. An iconic event happening on the island of Tobago annually. I can't remember the amount of years, but I know that it has grown into something that people look forward to every single year, and it is growing and it's growing, and now we have landed out of Barbados. Tell us a little bit about that tour and what the expectations are in terms of the partnership there.
Right, so the event basically we started in 2016. The Barbados tour actually was conceptualized last year when the players said, let's do a trip. And also we piggyback on some strategic decisions that we wanted to grow this thing, not only as we started in Tobago. In fact, this year we have all past students from all 9 secondary schools being represented this year. And then we went to Trinidad. And so we expanded in Trinidad. This year we had 4 schools from Trinidad participating. So we are growing the Trinidad market. And then we decided to go to Barbados. I reached out to some friends there. I said, well, if we're coming, we're not just going on for the lime part, we can do a bit of both. So we reached out to the Honorable Minister there and we met in the hopes of having a Capture the Flag being hosted there last year. And of course, the Minister agreed. And now what we have to do on our side is have some discussions with our sports minister and the secretary to see what can happen in terms of the exchange, where we will send a team, host the tournament up there, and in return, they will also send a team. So we're looking at sports, we're building our sports tourism.
And one thing I like about the Tobago space is that the talent that we have residing right here. And what I like about this particular event, or brand rather, because you have created a brand, is the fact that the brand took its time to grow and to be established. And now it is known not only in Tobago or Trinidad or even the Caribbean. I am certain that there are people on the international platform who speak about Capture the Flag. And I can't wait to hear where next we go with Capture the Flag, because I'm sure Barbados is not the only island you're looking at, if I know anything about you at all. And so we're talking now about that partnership there. We're talking about the opportunity there. And it would not just be one team in Barbados. And eventually we're going to have, as you mentioned, sports tourism teams from Barbados coming to Tobago. Or am I preempting the thing? Of course, and creating opportunities for all of us here on the island of Tobago. How do you see Capture the Flag rolling out over the next couple of years in terms of expanding to other countries and involvement, and of course supporting our sport tourism brand?
Well, the good thing is some of our main sponsors actually, when we were doing the research, actually have branches in Barbados, such as like Nagico, RBC, Courts, Campari. So it will be an easy market for us to penetrate sponsors-wise, because I'm sure the sponsors will jump on board for something like that. On the sports tourism part and the community tourism part, sending a container, let's say about 30, and they come for a weekend, it means that they have to stay somewhere. So somebody, hotel is going to get that. And once they're here, of course, the food aspect would happen. And the tour operators, because they're not only going to come for the sporting
That's
event.
right.
If the sporting event is, for example, a Sunday, you would want the contingent to go and experience the nightlife. You would want them to go and do a tour around Tobago, go on the reef, whatever the case may be. So you would open up the market now for more and more persons. And with that, we can also push our other events. Of course, you saw us wearing some uniquely designed Tobago Carnival t-shirt. So we didn't just go and operate for self. We looked at how can we help in marketing the island. And that's why we went to meet the minister. Everybody had on their Tobago Carnival t-shirt. And we also presented the minister with one and saying, you need to come and check out this festival.
That's right. That's right. Of course, every opportunity that you jump on that bus and ensure that you get maximum benefits for that. So kudos to you and the team there. And so we're talking Capture the Flag 2024.
Yes. So this year we are 8 schools, 8 past students, 8 schools representing past students going to be battling it out this Sunday at the Sid Grace Stadium. Kickoff is at 3 p.m. This one, I think it's the largest pre-qualifiers we've had in the Tobago context. It's going to be a little bit tricky. I know Harmons have been practicing a lot because they want to factor in, and that's Ronell. Have been trying for his school to do better than the last. Yes, Ronell is a Harmonite, right? We have the Mount Mary boys. That's the past students of Bishop's High School. They are in. And you hear us using past students because what we have found is we have seen the persons or alumni bodies not necessarily being able to fully represent these persons. So you have persons saying, listen, we just want to play and have fun. And we now have to, the Capture the Flag executive, we had to adjust certain things to say, listen, we're going to put yourself in a proper structure and we are going to push the boundaries from there to build. And we have been doing that. And successfully, that's why this year we keep increasing the schools.
Right, and of course, I've been following the events as well, and I can see the growth there. And I am excited to see how further it can go. I like the camaraderie. I like the fact, as you mentioned, Mr. Ronell here and his team. This just the teams coming together to prove, listen, I still have skills. I could do this, and just the fun, that opportunity to network and to see somebody who we haven't seen in a long time. Sports really unite people together, and so we're really grateful for this opportunity. And of course, in closing, what are the things you want people to know and to understand about the Capture the Flag brand and also the events that are going to be hosted by said brand?
Well, one will say, how do you bleed? And you choose your color. We would say Capture the Flag is the largest reunion event. Of course, we encourage schools to keep their own unique event as well. But understand that Capture the Flag is that largest reunion body that would say, come home. You enjoy yourself, you come with your cooler and your drinks, you cook your food, and you choose your section in the stadium. Of course, the stadium is separated. We're going to part it off again. So you're going to have the Gotham and the Krypton side. And of course, you'll have the after party. Last year, Miss Avian Parks challenged me to bring a particular type of music. So this year, you will see a change in the type of artists we will bring for the halftime show. And of course, the after party, you will see also a different type of artist as well.
Absolutely awesome. We're speaking here with Kevon McKenna, president of the Scarborough Secondary School alumni, and also very, very integral foundation person as it relates to Capture the Flag. We're talking about regional relationships. We're talking about taking Capture the Flag to the world and ensuring that Tobago is positioned on the map internationally. Thank you so much, Kevin, for being here this morning and bringing that information, and of course making Tobago proud, flying that Tobago flag wherever you go. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where we end the morning show on Tobago Updates Television, but we don't end our programming here. We head on over to Tobago Notes and then on to GMT. So stay with us, and as you stay with us, we invite you to help us share the live, share the live, share the live.
We have not had a shark attack in my years of scuba diving and being in the marine environment. We have never had an encounter such as that one. So we have to understand why is it that this happened, and understand that, listen, you know, these creatures, that's their home, and being in the water as a diver and even as a swimmer, one of the inherent risks is encountering one of these creatures. Yeah, so I don't think that is a worry, but I think it's a wake-up call for us to make sure that we equip our lifeguards, equip our emergency responders, so that they know in the event of an incident like that, we know what to do. As divers, we would see sharks once in a while. But most of the time it's what we call provoked or unprovoked occurrences. So when we see them, they tend to avoid us. They don't like the human contact at all. We are not part of the ecosystem, so they don't know us as food. So the fear isn't there. The fear is mutual. They are more scared of us as we of them. Okay, so we just have to respect the animal.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
It's only when I go abroad and I see what is out there and I come back and I measure against what is here. There is no comparison to beauty.
In some writings of our history, it is said that Christopher Columbus called it Bella Fauna, meaning beautifully formed.
Natural, beautiful, peaceful. Yes, I get emotional. That's why I'm here.
One of the fascinating things about nature, there is always something new, and especially in the tropics where there's such wide diversity, persons can experience and have the awe associated with some of the beaches we have, aquatic life we have, some of the fascinating birds we have within a day, within a short period of time.
You have the Caribbean Sea on one side, you have the Atlantic Ocean on the other side. On our doorstep, a fringe reef that wraps around the entire area. You have this huge amount of biodiversity and liveliness of the entire water that surrounds the island. We also do bioluminescent nighttime tours, which are like an escape into the deep, dark secrets of this, glowing phenomenon. It's like this almost cosmic effect. It's just something to be seen.
I know everybody in the village. And everybody know me. That is the nice thing about here.
Tobago is used to the extended family. There was always a grandmother, aunt, uncle. There was always love.
We eat and we drink, we laugh, and everything together.
Tobago, in one word to me, beautiful. Beautiful place to live. It gives me great pleasure to be in Tobago and do what I do.
The sunsets here are probably bar none some of the nicest I've seen.
I would describe Tobago of one of the clean, serene, and the best place that anyone could come. Be easy, be happy, and have a good time. There is nothing to compare to.
This little dot called Tobago exists, and come visit.
Good morning, Tobago, right here on Tobago Updates. Guys, you know when you see me sitting here, it's because we're about to have those conversations that you want to have while I ask those questions that you want asked. But before we do that this morning, let's have our news in 90 seconds.
News in 90 seconds is brought to you by Standards, never beaten on quality and prices.
Former THA Assemblyman Jerry McFarlane has called on politicians to introduce measures in Parliament to monitor and regulate the quality of imported and locally produced food. Speaking at the 5th Joint Select Committee meeting on Social Services and Public Administration in Tobago, McFarlane highlighted the high prevalence of non-communicable diseases, which accounted for 60% of death on the island. He expressed concerns that the actual number of deaths from non-communicable diseases in Tobago might be higher than reported. McFarlane questioned the regulation of sugar content in foods and the use of chemicals in produce, urging stricter checks on quality food. Additionally, on Saturday at the Lowlands Mall car park, Iconic Mass held their band launch titled Enter the Amazon, building anticipation for the October Carnival 2024. 7 sections were showcased: toucan, emerald boa, phantom, butterfly, lily, tarantula, red macaw, and roar. The launch featured entertainment by Adana Roberts. And finally, Kamala Basad-Bissessa's star team decisively defeated Roston Perez, the United Patriots, in the UNC's internal election. Basad-Bissessa declared a landslide victory for all 17 stars, despite the ongoing official count and the late arrival of ballot boxes at the UNC headquarters. Preliminary results showed a clear win for the star slate. Basad-Bissessa acknowledged the ongoing count, but noted a clear trend of victory. She described the campaign as the worst internal election experience, citing dishonesty from the opposition team. Meanwhile, she reminded supporters of the upcoming by-elections and general election. And that was our news in 90 seconds.
Need a fresh fresh start? Upgrade your life with the things you want. At Standard Distributors in Canaan, life is good with zero. Get that amazing fridge, the stylish sofa with zero down and easy financing. Your dream house is within reach. Visit Standard Distributors today. Life is good with zero.
Good morning, and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago. The question still lies, is 50 million enough for Tobago after the oil spill recovery? The question is continuing to circulate as many persons are being asked, do you think 50 million is enough? Now, last week we heard from Senator Lawrence Hislop while he was in the House, and he indicated that he believed that 50 million was indeed enough. But we had standing in as well independent Senator Dr. Remy, who indicated that 50 million was clearly not enough, echoing the sentiments of many Tobagonians. And as we have this conversation this morning, we're going to go a bit further into whether or not 50 million can truly cover the expenses that have been incurred by the THA after the oil spill fallout. And to have this conversation with me this morning, I have the privilege of sitting with Mrs. Petal Ann Roberts, who is the Chief Management Accountant, and Dr. Faith B. Israel, who is the Deputy Chief Secretary of the THA. Now, this morning is quite interesting because it's not very often we have the Management Accountant of the THA that would be able to sit in with us and give us the details. Because a lot of the times what we get is opinions, but very few times we are able to get the figures. So this morning we get figures, and I am grateful for that opportunity to clarify a lot of questions that the public may have. Now, from what we know, specifically sitting on the angle of the media, is that the Tobago House of Assembly, by means of the Division of Finance, would have submitted a request for 153 million to cover expenses incurred based on the oil spill, right? And I want you, Ms. Petalan, to let us know what was that request like from central government initially to send in that request for the finances. What was that conversation like?
Good morning, Tobago, and good morning to the wider viewing public. Morning, Chanel, Dr. Faith, good morning. Right, so every year we have what we call a mid-year review, where we look at the finances of the Tobago House of Assembly, as a matter of fact, not only the THA, across the government, and we look at, because our budget is done for a year, we look at the middle of the fiscal year to see what are the needs because of the changes in the environment. As you know, we had an extraordinary, unfortunate incident, and in light of that, we would have made a request in addition to the usual request. Right. So this year we made a request of $300 million to the government, and that included the oil spill related expenditure up to September. So it was from February to September 2024. The amount was 153.5. Some of it was actual, because at the time when we made the request, it was March. So we were able to give the government February and March actual figures, and then we projected April based on the activities at the time, and we went right up to September. So that's how we came up with 153 million. The actual at the time was approximately 48 million, February and March. Included in that mid-year request was monies pertaining to the contractors. As you know, from prior to fiscal 2021, we owed contractors. We had an audit, and the audit sort of cleared some of the contractors, and they gave us the recommendation that we can pay for some of these projects. So we asked the government if we can have $100 million, because out of the 260, we were not able to make most of the payments. As a matter of fact, we made a payment out of the menial allocation for works. Works only was allocated about 54 million. We were still able to find and squeeze 26 million to pay contractors. So we were asking the government for an additional 100 million to see if we can pay contractors. Also, we had asked the government for about 46 million to assist in deferring the cost of our overdraft interest. as I don't know if you're aware, because we don't get our allocations or quarterly in advance, we have to utilize an overdraft facility to pay for our recurrent and development program expenditure, maybe about 1 month in each quarter, because we don't get all the monies. We get 2 months and then 1 month. And in light of that, the overdraft interest on our First Citizens Bank account is very high. 1 year it was about $10 million. So we asked the government, this is a non-appropriated expenditure, so we asked the government, can you assist us in defraying this? Because on the fund account, we would not be in a positive position at all times, even if we get the releases for the month, because the overdraft interest is deducted from the releases that are in the account. So therefore, we asked the government for that. All we received was $50 million for the oil spill. After the request, though, we did have conversations with technocrats at the Ministry of Finance, and they asked us for further details because that request did not have, it didn't itemize the suppliers and contractors that we owed. The ministry required additional information. And remember, this was in April when the ministry contacted us. So obviously, we would have only had actual for February and March. Remember, by the time the mid-year review and the Standing Finance Committee met, it would have been June. So we have April and May invoices to still pay. So the $50 million, I believe, was only for February and March. Right now, for April, it's about $20 million. And May, it starts to decrease to somewhere about $9 million. Right, because we still have certain infrastructure up. We have to rent lighting, we have to rent security at the Cove especially, and we still have some of the contractors on the ground working on the oil spill.
Okay, question. Is the conversation still open for more funding to be given to the THA in light of what you just highlighted?
Based on how I know the government operates, after the mid-year review, that is it. Because I don't know that they supplement the appropriations again, because you know they'll have to go back to Parliament. But what I am hoping for is that through the IOPC, that we'll be able to access additional funding from that avenue. Because Chanel contractors are calling us every day. They call me, they call team of staff, they call procurement. Contractors want their funding. I don't know if you're aware, also we had to find about $15 million under contingencies. That was only able to pay 6 contractors. Because the major high-level cleanup that you were seeing on the coastline, some of those persons were only paid for February. As a matter of fact, I'm speaking here not only as chief management accountant, but there's a multidisciplinary oversight oil spill committee, of which I'm a part, and I am the finance person. It's a multidisciplinary, so there is someone from the Division of Health, someone from the environment, someone from procurement. So we have various persons within the Tobago House of Assembly, various professionals who make up that team, and we oversee the oil spill, how it's being managed. Right? So based on that, I'm hoping that the government will provide additional funding from the claims that we have to make from the IOPC.
All right, Dr. Faith, talk to us. Has any discussion happened between the THA and the central government on the actual allocation of that IOP fund?
So what you've recognized is that a lot of people are playing smart with foolishness and using a lot of fancy words and talk around to speak about what is actually happening. The Chief Secretary has indicated that one of the first meetings, or we don't even know how many meetings they've had. There was a meeting in England or London, I think, where we knew nothing about it. And the only reason we knew about it is because the Chief Sec, his luggage got lost while traveling. He went out to try to find a suit to go to the engagements that he went to the UK for. And while there, he saw someone from the Ministry of Energy and asked, "Hey, what are you doing here?" And that is when we recognized a high-level meeting was actually happening in the UK. So let's just say...
And the Chief Secretary was not invited.
And the Chief Secretary was not only not invited, but we did not know. A couple weeks later, we are seeing a picture
headlines where those individuals came apparently to Trinidad and Tobago. So it's not even, we don't want to incur the cost to go to England or wherever. They actually, representatives were in Trinidad and Tobago. And the only reason we knew about it is because we saw the pictures and we saw the news article. The same time the rest of Trinidad and Tobago saw the pictures and saw the news articles. So that is why I am not convinced. You see, people, you have to judge people based on how they behave. The behavior thus far has shown that they are not really willing to have us included in the kinds of conversations that would get us to, for example, outlining what Ms. Roberts just outlined. Because I am sure most people did not recognize that what we actually asked for mid-year review was $300 million. Because the conversation has been swayed in such a way to say that we only asked for 150 or so million and only got the 50 million for oil spill, and conveniently left out the fact that there was 100 million included for owed contractors and the 50 million included for the overdraft fees that we are getting. So we are not convinced. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I pray that we are wrong. I hope that coming after this interview this morning, somebody looks at us, somebody sees us, maybe Senator Hislop sees this interview and others see this interview and say, well, okay, we now understand what is happening and we now have a greater, a clearer picture of what is happening and why we requested that 300 million to say, well, okay, let's come back to the table and have this kind of genuine, honest conversation. I would like to highlight one other quick thing, though. The Tobago House of Assembly Act coming out of the DRC's ruling how many years ago indicated that the Tobago House of Assembly should be getting between 4.03 and 6.9% of whatever the government of Trinidad and Tobago spends. So if you look back at the documentation that came out for this mid-year review, it's about $2.3 billion. And even if you go to the basic bottom figure, 4.03% of that is closer to 100 million than it is to the 50 million that we were even allocated. So even on that basic level, the government is going against the rules or the laws of Trinidad and Tobago as it relates to the allocations provided to the Tobago House of Assembly. But going back to your original question, no, we have not been involved in those conversations. And I am hoping that this conversation on air will allow us to get back to the table so that we could truly represent the needs of Tobago.
Okay, and this is where my other question comes in, because I was going to ask for clarity. So overall, the figure that was requested was 300 million.
Yes.
And of the 300 million, only 50 million was allocated?
That's correct. Yep.
Okay, understood.
So can I just say quickly, for those who are listening, especially those who are contractors in Tobago, they meet me. I mean, people who I don't even know were contractors are meeting me and asking me for their money. Remember when we got into this and we did when we looked at the debt of the Tobago House of Assembly from day one, it was close to $1 billion of owed monies that we came into the Tobago House of Assembly meeting at our doorsteps. So even the 100 million, for example, that was given last fiscal in the mid-year review to pay contractors, that was done, that was paid out in addition to the additional 20-something million that they found miraculously to pay. So the 20-something million that Miss Roberts spoke about is outside of what we got the 100 million last year to pay. And it means we still have hundreds of millions of dollars of unpaid contractors out there, which is why we asked for the additional 100 million this year just to pay contractors.
Yes.
So we see it is those, when I said we kind of playing smart with foolishness, we are not really having the honest, genuine conversations about this. Those are the little kind of sleights of hands that I'm talking about.
Well, Dr. Faze, it's like you saw my question coming, because I was just going to ask, how are you actually going to even allocate such a small budget compared to what is given to the persons who have actually played a key role in this oil spill cleanup Not only that, other contractors who are owed. But that's a question for both ladies.
Well, for me, what we do is first in, first out. So and it's difficult because we had more contractors engaged in February. And how do I determine who to pay? Because there's a contractor that called me and said, I heard you all are paying, I haven't received. Now, mind you, we have also internally tried to shift funding because persons are calling us. Some of them are on the brink. The bank is coming for them. They have their bills to pay. So in some cases, we have tried to honor some of these invoices. Others, I've told contractors, we just do not have the funding. We'll have to wait on the government. We are in June. We have not received the 50 million. I want Tobago to understand. We haven't yet received it. There's a process, both on the government side and both on our budgets and finance side. So when we receive the funding, then internally we will try as quickly as possible to fast track. But to answer your question, we honor the February releases first. There are February releases, we are in June, that we have not yet honored. And these people are calling us. And I also want to kind of outline to Tobago the type of expenditure that we have had. So we have the high level and heavy equipment. So those heavy contractors, those with the high-tech equipment to treat with the oil spill cleanup, those were more significant. And then we had to rent and lease infrastructure. We had to rent tents. We had to rent bathroom facilities. We had to rent lighting, particularly at Cove and Lowlands. We had to rent trucks. There are some Tobago contractors who said, I'm not putting my truck in the salt water because of the effects of that, the negative effects of that. We have swim call. We had a lot of contractors that we had to rent equipment from. Then materials and supplies. There are some materials and supplies we would have had to purchase on spot. At a point in time, but we have since cut it out, we had to provide meals for TEMA staff. TEMA staff were working 24 hours to the point where I know 2 staff personally that fell ill because they are going non-stop. We have the marine support. We have those persons in the Tobago Fisher Folk and marine industry that provided support for the boom deployment. So we receive booms from the high-tech companies, but the deployment of the booms and to give that support to these companies, we have those people to pay. At the onset of the oil spill, we also had to provide accommodation for some of the contractors. They didn't have anywhere to stay, and we really needed the support in terms of accommodation. Also, I must say that TEMA and us staff, they worked 24 hours tirelessly, and therefore they were asking for some form of additional compensation, which we are also considering, something like an honorarium. So all of this is included. Then we continue to have requests from people for compensation. We have restaurants who have lost income during the time. We have persons who are coming to us and saying, because of the oil spill, this is my situation. So we still have those requests. So those are some of the expenditure that we have in terms of the oil spill. And I'm saying that we have not yet been able to pay. We have to wait on the 50 million to continue these payments.
All right, we're going to take a quick break right here, and we will return and continue our conversation right after this. See you soon, guys.
The countdown is on to the Tobago Public Service Day Expo 2024. Join us on July 5th at the Shore Park Complex to discover the dynamic world of public service where innovation meets dedication. Explore exciting careers, experience innovative services, enjoy interactive displays, and a whole lot more. Come join us on July 5th at the Shore Park Complex from 9:30 a.m. Visit the Office of the Chief Secretary's Facebook page for details. Tobago Public Service Day Expo 2024. Public service now and beyond.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago. We continue our conversation asking the question, is 50 million enough to not only cover oil spill expenses, but now we know that we have lots of contractors that still need to pay, to be paid. Dr. Faith, before we round up this morning's discussion, I want to ask you, because there have been the narrative or the conversation out there that this administration, though complaining about never having money, has gotten the most money of any previous administration. Can you touch on that a bit?
Certainly. Again, another sleight of hand, another playing smart with foolishness. This is basic maths. The expenditure of the government of Trinidad and Tobago during the period that we have been here has actually been higher, generally. So let's go back to basic maths. The Tobago House of Assembly, we're supposed to get between 4.03 to 6.9. So let's just go with the 4%. If the government total has $10 and we are going to get 4% of the $10, that is one figure. If the government now has $100 and we're going to get 4% of the $100, obviously that is going to be, in terms of actual dollar figure, more money. But it also means that all of us, not just the Tobago House of Assembly, but every single ministry in the government also got more money during that period. And that is exactly what happened. The government spending, or the estimated spending for the fiscal was more. So obviously the Tobago House of Assembly got more in terms of actual dollar figure. But if you look at the percentage-wise of it, it was the same bottom of the barrel, 4.03. Sometimes it's you have to wonder, when people say these things, do they really think that we are stupid? Honestly, do they really think that we are stupid? Because yes, we got more dollar, but we're still at the bottom of the barrel, and they still have not gone above the 4.03. And in fact, we also still have to live with the increased inflation rates, the increased cost of everything, the fact that we have a procurement legislation now which makes everything more difficult and honestly seems to be making things more expensive because of the processes that we have to go through and so forth. So it is not that we have more money and we're just spending it willy-nilly. The more money is not even sufficient for what we need, basically. And that is why at every budget reading, at least since we've been here, the Secretary for Finance has been able to estimate with the technocrats, has been able to estimate, this is how much we think the government would have. This is what we think if we were in the middle of 5% or 5.5%. And we have always pegged our budget to that middle of the range, so that we are not just dealing with the bottom of the barrel, 4.03% of the budget every year.
All right, and let me shift gears a bit to our representatives in the parliament. What do you think because we saw Dr. Remy standing up in the parliament last week and making a bold stand, making bold claims on behalf of Tobagonians about why it is so important for Tobago to be given what Tobago deserves, particularly when the government is going to international agencies to seek funding for Tobago at a particular rate and then giving Tobago only $50 million. What do you think can be done by our representatives to begin to advocate, specifically when we see senators like Senator Lawrence Hislop saying in the parliament that what has been given based on the ministry's assessment is enough?
Well, I think Tobagonians are the ones that are going to have to figure out what we want our representatives to do. It is clear that there are representatives in the parliament that represent their party and themselves. It is clear that there are other representatives who represent Tobago, and I would actually like to publicly commend Dr. Remy for her interjection last week when she made that presentation. But Tobagonians, you are the one who needs to ask yourself, when you send somebody down to Trinidad as a Tobago East or Tobago West representative, who do you want them to represent? Do you want them to represent their political party, or do you want them to represent Tobago? And that is a question you have to ask yourself coming up into the next general election that we will have. But it is also something that you have to be honest about. Because the way to deal with this is they could have simply called Faith this thing that all you said, what that really about? Help me understand it now. Going and present in the house next week. Help me understand what we're talking about, why. That has not happened, and because that has not happened, we are not hearing anything from them, and what we do hear from them does not represent Tobago. Remember, I did not say that they need to advocate on behalf of the Tobago House of Assembly or the administration that runs the Tobago House of Assembly. The people who are representatives in Parliament need to represent Tobago, the whole island of Tobago, and they have not been doing that.
Okay, well, you said a lot there. And we're going to take a break here and we're going to continue with our show this morning. Guys, see you soon.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and hear me neighbor. 60,000 people.
Tobago, the date has been set. Saturday, June 22nd, we head to the Jade Monkey once again for the launch of their 2024 Jufi and Mass Band presentation for Tobago Carnival. On Saturday, June 22nd, we gather at the Jade Monkey to get a glimpse of the Jade Monkey Mass presentation for 2024, the Tobago Festival, and also the launch of the Jade Monkey Jufi, Monkey See, Monkey Do.
I come from the Twin Island of Canada.
Get ready for another year of Tobago Carnival with the best band in Tobago, Jade Monkey Mass and the Jade Monkey Jufi. So come out on June 22nd as we launch Monkey See, Monkey Do Jufi, and for Tobago Mass, the Tobago Festival's presentation brought to you by the Jade Monkey. This one powered by Carib, Digicel, and Next 99.1 FM, a member of the TTT Limited Media Network. Jade Monkey.
Deltec Distributors Weekend Special Wings Friday, 3 pounds wings, 2.5 kilogram fries. Special 100 TT Soup Saturday, 2 pounds cube beef, 2 pounds cow heel, 2 pounds chicken foot, 2 pounds pigtail, or smoke bone. Special $150. Super Sunday, 3 pounds leg and thigh chicken, 3 pounds sliced pork, 3 pounds lamb slice, 3 pounds cheese, 2 pack of pasta. Special $250. Located Main Road, Argyle, Tobago. We deliver 20 TT. Contact us on deltecdistributors.com 395-5040 or 237-0102. Deltec Distributors Weekend Special.
Good morning and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago. This morning, as we continue our conversations here, we're talking about innovation, entrepreneurship, and commercialization. This morning, to have this conversation, we're talking with the Executive Manager of Entrepreneurship, Development, and Innovation at Careri, Mrs. Denise Ferguson. Good morning, Ms. Ferguson, and welcome to Good Morning Tobago.
Good morning, and thank you for having me on this morning.
Excellent. Well, you have sent out a call for individuals who have innovative business ideas that is close to commercialization to reach out to Careri to receive funding. Tell us a bit about the background of the grant and who exactly is funding the grant project.
So this project was developed by the IDB Lab and the EU, of course, in collaboration with the Ministry of Planning and Development. And Careri is the executing agency. This part of the actual project, the grant itself, is funded by the EU. Other parts of the project is also funded both by the EU and the innovation within Trinidad and Tobago. We've recognized that many entrepreneurs have great innovation that they're ready to commercialize, or it's commercialized already and they're ready to scale up, but they do not have the funding necessary to engage, whether it's research or to buy new equipment. Or so that is what this grant is for. So up to $75,000 US will be given to firms, entrepreneurs, SMEs, as well as large companies who have an innovative product, service, or process ready for commercialization or ready to scale up.
All right, tell us about the conditions for application. What are the criteria that individuals must meet in order to receive the grant?
So the first criteria is that the business must be registered in Trinidad and Tobago. So it's not open to businesses outside of Trinidad and Tobago. You must be registered for at least 3 years. You must be financially compliant with your taxes, so it must be paid up. If you're an NGO and you do not pay taxes, then you would get a tax clearance from the Board of Inland Revenue. So that has to be done as well. You would need to, so first of all, the application is done through an e-portal. So you will go onto www.kariri.com and you would go onto the e-portal and you would see the list of things that are needed. So you must be registered in Trinidad and Tobago. You must have your financial clearance for the last 3 years. You must submit your return of directors. And when it comes to the project that you have, it must be innovative and it must be commercially viable. So it's not just an idea that's still in your head. So it must be technology, which means you have a prototype and that prototype has been proven and it's ready for commercialization, or it's already commercialized for scale up, and it must be commercially viable.
What about scaling up internationally? What if the person's business is currently present in Trinidad and Tobago and the idea is to scale and become a global business? How or would they be a great fit for this grant?
They would be an ideal fit because that is exactly what we want. Export potential, bringing in Forex, creating new employment. And so that when we talk about scale up, we're not just talking scale up locally, but certainly regionally and internationally.
Excellent. And how does the project really benefit Trinidad and Tobago on a whole?
So by giving grants, giving a jump start, giving entrepreneurs the ability to really take their product, their service, and make it more marketable, make it more commercial, what we will have is more sustainable and resilient entrepreneurs. We're going to have, as you just spoke about, maybe more export potential, more Forex coming into the country. You may have the ability where we may be importing less because we now have a quality product that can be sold locally, increase employment, especially youth and women employment. So really adding to the socio-economic landscape of Trinidad and Tobago.
And there are persons who often think that the process for application for these types of grants are quite tedious. Can you tell us what the actual application process is? What are some of the requirements in terms of the documentation? How long do you think the actual process of application might take each individual person?
Right, so the applications opened on the 9th of May and it closes on the 28th of June at 11:59 p.m. So you go again onto our website, www.kariri.com, projects, shaping the future of innovation, and you go onto an e-platform. So you can begin your submission. You don't have to finish it the same day. So there are a number of things you have to put in: your name, your address, the business address and business name, your directors. You have to also submit your financials for the last 3 years. It does not have to be audited financials, your tax clearance or your clearance of tax if you're an NGO. And you then fill out on the platform itself a concept note. So it's a very short concept note that talks about the innovation. It tells us what the innovation is about, why it's viable, how it can be commercially viable, and basically why you should be selected. So it's a very simple application, and it shouldn't take, if you have all that information that I just said there, you already know about your application, it shouldn't take you more than a couple hours to complete your application. And that's being generous. If you have everything, probably wouldn't take you between 1 or 2 from start to finish, just to allow you to think about what you want to write.
Is there such a thing as being too established for this grant?
Absolutely not. We recognize that even established organizations have innovation. So they may have something new, a new product, a new service, a new process, a new way of doing things, or they may be very established within the Caribbean or within Trinidad and Tobago. And as you said before, they now want to go global with the same product or with a different product. So we encourage everyone to apply.
And one of my questions has to do with the THA now. In my previous conversation with Dr. Faith B. Israel and the management accountant, Pesalan, they would have expressed that they often have difficulties with funding. Is the THA able to apply for grants like this, for example, in areas such as education and housing?
The THA is able to apply. So while it is looking at private sector-led innovation, we do have some public agencies that have applied. But the main thing we have to remember, it must be commercially viable. So your proposal and your innovation must be able to be profitable.
Understood, understood. Now we're going to take a quick break right here, and we'll be back right after this as we continue our conversation on shaping the future of innovation. See you soon.
Passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies.
I can't live without you, I can't be without you for too long. Cause when I'm around you, I feel like the heavens is coming down. I feel it in my soul every time we on the road, is a miracle. No place like home, home, home.
Oh, I love Tobago, baby.
When we outside, it's an ocean of love. All that we align to the stars up above. Let we dance now, take a chance now with me. And we go jump till morning. Look, the moon gone sleeping. Tell them we not leaving. Till the last drop of a canal is madness in the capital. So I feel like I'm running tongue again. Yeah.
Okay, welcome back. We're going to continue our conversation with Kariri, and we're discussing here with Mrs. Ferguson the Shaping the Future of Innovation project and the Innovation Challenge Facility, which is grant funding for businesses. Now, as we discuss the funding, can you talk to us a bit about how this grant feeds into the wider agenda of Kariri to prepare businesses for that level of global innovation?
So, Kariri thinks about innovation and entrepreneurship in what we call mine to market. So, we have several different projects and programs that allow that. So, we have a project called the Idea Advisory Service. If you just have an idea, an innovative idea, and you want to validate that for proof business, we are able to do that. We then have another program called the Business Hatchery, where we then help you to move that business along in looking at your market, in looking at finance, in looking at several things. So we take you from the idea into the business. And with this grant, and of course, before I say that, I should say Kariri has a number of labs. So we can help when it comes to food technology. We could help you with product standardization, with proof of concept, with scale up in terms of product development. We have labs that can test the products, whether it's a chemical testing or microbiological testing. And if it's not food, let's say it's asphalt, we can also do that. We have someone who created a concrete block, another one who created a concrete louver. And so we can do testing for that as well. So when it comes to the grant, as indicated before, we've recognized that we have a lot of innovation, we have a lot of good leadership, a lot of good entrepreneurship. And so while we validated the idea, we've tested the business, and now we're helping you grow in terms of the business philosophy. There's some funding that's needed, whether it's to buy new equipment, it's to get some prototype developed, it's to get product testing, maybe outside of Trinidad and Tobago, market testing, etc. So that is what this project is about, giving the funds that are needed for entrepreneurs to be able to take that next step, either to commercialize or to scale their business quicker than they would have done if they did not get the funding. And this became really critical because of COVID-19, when a lot of businesses would have lost customers, they would have become unprofitable. And this is allowing them to jumpstart or to restart their business to success.
And there are existing businesses who may have gotten to a point where they feel like they've gotten to a plateau and they can't see growth. They don't know what the next level for their business is. Please let them know how they can tap into the resources at Kariri to take their business to another level.
Right, so certainly visit our website, www.kariri.com. We do have several other programs. So as you just indicated, we have another program called the IGAP, the Innovation Gap Analysis Program, where we come into organizations and we do a gap analysis to understand what innovation is there that you didn't recognize that you can institute to also help you become more productive, be more profitable, to have a new line, to save money. So that is something that they could do as well. So there are many things that we have at Kariri that entrepreneurs can take advantage of, including youth entrepreneurs. We have an innovation, a DIA Innovation Lab for youths, and that's a 2-week project where they are able to take 2 weeks of training and also utilize our lab that has 3D printers, laser cutters, that youths are now able to get some free education, some free capacity building to also begin their entrepreneurship journey or to jumpstart their entrepreneurship journey as well.
Right, and this is the 2-week program for youth. It is in Trinidad. Are there any facilities available to engage Tobago youth?
It's actually virtually.
Okay.
So they don't have to leave Tobago to come. And what we did on one occasion is there is one day that they come to the physical lab where they interact with some of the equipment. What we do is that we bring the equipment to Tobago, partner with some of our partners, and they can see it there. So they would have done the 2-week program. We then come to Tobago where they would interact with the equipment.
Excellent. And you said that the European Union is playing a part in the grant. Can you just tell us what role they are playing in the overall project?
So the European Union and the IDB Lab are the key agencies that are driving this project, of course, with the Ministry of Planning and Development. Kariri is the executing agency. So for this part of the project, the grants, the Innovation Facility Challenge, all of the funding is coming from the European Union. So they are playing the major role, and we certainly want to thank them for that continued support, not just of Kariri, of course, but for Trinidad and Tobago as a whole.
All right, and as we wrap up this morning's discussion, again, encourage Tobago businesses, Tobago entrepreneurs on why it's important to utilize this facility and be a part of this grant.
So we do understand that entrepreneurs out there need a jumpstart. They do need funding. We understand for innovation funding, it's difficult to get it from the traditional sources of finance, and that is why this project was developed. I am proud to announce that we have 2 Tobago entrepreneurs who are already recipients of this grant. We have Rojas Engineering and we have the Charlotte Estate Limited, and they have taken up this opportunity and they are doing well. And so we want to encourage other Tobago entrepreneurs to really come on board. Fill out your application. It's an easy application. You go to www.kariri.com, Projects Shaping the Future of Innovation. If you have any questions, call us at 299-0210. Take advantage of this. We know there's a lot of innovation happening, and this can be a game changer to really help you scale your business.
Thank you so much. And to the entrepreneurs, this might just be the answer to your prayer. $75,000 US. Think about what that can do for your innovative business idea. So again, we want to thank you, Mrs. Ferguson, and your team over there at Kariri for extending the message to Tobago to ensure that Tobago entrepreneurs are a part of this. Guys, we want to thank you this morning for being a part of our show on Good Morning Tobago. We want to thank you for liking, sharing, and commenting, and thank you for being a huge part of the conversation this morning. Again, I want to express sincere gratitude to the management accountant of the THA, Mrs. Petal-Ann Roberts, as well as Dr. Faith B. Israel, the Deputy Chief Secretary, for coming on this morning and discussing with us and making sure that our show this morning was a success again. Guys, thank you for doing all that you have been doing to make Tobago Updates the #1 broadcaster here on the island of Tobago. Again, I say good morning and thank you.
Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, Tobago.
You're viewing Tobago Updates Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.